Here with third-year head coach Craig Nicholson for 2025 softball preseason preview. Coach, just kind of give us a state of the kind of union address about active softball.
State of the union. Yeah, I mean, I think that we're in a really good spot going into this year. I think the biggest thing that I see and I've seen and develop over the last couple of years is just the level of maturity that we do things with, in a softball sense, has really kind of continued to raise itself. And even right from the beginning of the fall this year, you can just see a different sense. There's, last year with so many freshmen and so many new players, I feel like it took the whole fall to kind of get systems in and get pieces in terms of what we want to do, and we couldn't spend a ton of time on individual skills and those kind of things. It was a lot of team stuff. But this fall and this preseason, we've been able to kind of focus more on really developing the athletes individually, getting them to the best spot we can get them. And I think a big piece of it is just the way that we carry ourselves on the field right now, in my view, has significantly changed from what it was 12 months ago.
Kind of break down the non-conference schedule and where you guys are headed, what you're hoping to get out of those non-conference games.
Yeah, so we open up at USC Upstate next weekend, then we're in Texas for 10 days, and shoot after that. Eastern Kentucky and Murray State, I think, are the last two. I'm not sure the order of those two, but I think it's a really good mix of playing probably some games that we would expect to win, some games where we know we're going to be challenged, and it's probably a pretty even matchup, and then some teams that probably on paper are better than us or would be expected to be better than us. So I think it's a good mix of, putting ourselves in a position to really compete early, preparing ourselves obviously for conference, and being able also at the same time to maybe try out some different lineups. Our depth this year is probably better than it's ever been. So getting some people that maybe will be backups, getting them some time. So if we get to a point somewhere in the season where somebody's hurt or anything needs to change, we have people that aren't playing their first game in college in a conference game. So I think there's ability to do that this year. I think the schedule sets us up to be able to try some different things, and obviously with 6 pitchers, really kind of putting them in positions and seeing how they respond and how well they compete their way through some tough spots and some spots where they should go out and probably perform at a high level.
You mentioned pitchers. I want to have you do kind of a breakdown of positions. So we'll start with pitchers, then we'll move to the infield and the outfield. Names are good, but if you don't have them, that's okay.
Well, I mean, I think the big thing with our pitching staff is it's a pitching staff. I don't know that we have that person that's going to throw 250 innings and win 25 games. But I do think that we have a staff that very much complements each other, can do some different things. They're going to be different looks and at different times. And I think that there's days where we may use 3 pitchers in a game and just go once through a lineup. And I think that's tough on an offense when you can kind of change the look on them that much. So we're going to pitch by committee a little bit. We're toying around with maybe a closer. We'll kind of see how that plays out early on and what that looks like. But I think they complement each other. They can support each other, and they give us a ton of variety and a ton of options. So I like where we're at with our pitching staff right now.
Go ahead with the infield. Names good. If you don't have them, that's all right too.
Well, no, and again, I think the big thing with our infield is they're all at least in their second year of playing the position that they're going to play. And I specifically remember a day last year where I went to the mound and I'm looking at 6, pitcher, catcher, and the 4 infielders, and Brooke is playing second base, and she's the only sophomore on the field, and everybody else on the field is freshmen, right? So I think the big thing this year is just they've all got 50 games under their belt. And some of them more, obviously. It's nice to have Lexi Campbell back at third base this year. She does such a good job defensively, and obviously missing her the second half of the season with that injury was not something that helped us, chasing when we're trying to get in the tournament. But I think overall we just have more experience. They play when you watch them at practice, they just play so much more calmly. They're playing faster. but they don't look like they're playing faster. And I think that that's just a function of the experience that we have in those positions, and them kind of settling down and being confident in what they're doing.
And the outfield?
The outfield, defensively, we returned 2 of the 3 outfielders that we had last year. We got some other good options in the outfield. I think the biggest thing that we do in the outfield well at a high level is we can track a ball and we can go get it. We have good speed in the outfield. They've been working on just understanding angles and doing those kind of things. And I think that from a defensive standpoint, we're going to make most of the plays that should be made in the outfield, and probably some that that maybe you could argue shouldn't be made. We have, depending who's out there, and we got a few other options at that 3rd spot, but depending who's out there, I think they do a really good job tracking the ball. So the range for in every spot in the outfield is probably plus range in every spot in the outfield. So I think defensively we've got a chance to be really, really high level. And, you're not going through a season without making errors. Everybody's going to make an error here or there. But I think we have a chance to really make some high-level plays, and more importantly than that, just be super consistent with what we do defensively.
Flip over, and with the bats, what's kind of the goal? Obviously, put more runs on the board this year.
The biggest probably goal is more extra base hits. You start breaking down and looking at our numbers from last year, we probably didn't have enough extra base hits as a team. And I think that's a big piece of scoring runs. Now, the way we do it on offense, we will do it a little different at times. Obviously, we have 2 people at the top of the order. Their job's to get on base. They're not going to go hit a bunch of balls out of the ballpark and do those kind of things. So that's a piece of what we do offensively, and it's kind of a little bit philosophical, and we like having some speed at the top of the order and some people that are really true table setters. But I think 3 through 9 this year, our offense has the opportunity to be a little bit more dynamic. Hit more doubles probably is really the top goal, but I think when you have that mentality, that's going to turn into hitting more home runs too. And I think we've done a good job. We've worked through the fall, through the last 3 weeks being back here, and I think they're probably really ready to go see somebody else's pitchers throwing the ball rather than our own pitchers. So,
fair enough. Talk about the kind of the newcomers that have come onto this team, and what are some of the things that you're excited that they're going to bring to this team this year?
Sure. So we have 7 new people, 5 freshmen, 2 transfers, a mix of positions. 2 of them pitch. I think they add a ton of depth to our pitching staff, and I think they're both going to get opportunities, and I think they're both going to do a good job with the opportunities they get. Then on the offensive side, there's at least 2, maybe even 3 that are absolutely going to be able to contribute offensively. I think, my opinion, I think Andrea Day is poised to have a big year as a freshman. She should be somebody that is in the conversation for freshman of the year in this conference. If she keeps doing what she's been doing every day, I just think sky's the limit. And then we have other people. Sydney Selker has been doing a great job. She's a 2-way kid. She's going to pitch, and she's going to hit and play some outfield and that kind of stuff. Maddie Lee's our other pitcher, and I think those 3 are really going to provide some much needed depth to our team, right? And then there's others. I'm just kind of highlighting 3 that I think can, are going to do some really good things. But there's other pieces that in there that I think are going to contribute, and I think are going to get opportunity, and I think can really help us continue to grow and continue to be successful.
And then I guess last question I've got for you, Coach, is kind of from the recruiting side, the culture that you've built here for Akron softball. What's it like? You see that the ladies have bought into that culture. Just kind of speak about the culture here of Akron softball.
I think at the end of the day, it starts with we have good kids in this program. They're not really kids anymore, right? But we have good people in this program. You look at something like our team GPA in the fall was 3.5, right? And so not that that's the be-all and end-all. It is what we're here to do, but there's other pieces that go with it. I think it's just one thing that points to the fact that we have a group of people that want to do things the right way, right? And do they get a little squirrely sometimes? Yeah, and but I also do believe that they do a really good job of kind of holding each other accountable, and if somebody's a little bit too over the top, they do a good job of kind of taking care of that. We don't have a ton of upperclassmen, but we have upperclassmen that have been through it for a couple of years, kind of know what I expect, and also know what they expect. And I think that their ability to kind of share that and pass that information along is a big piece of us going in the right direction. But the biggest piece is, again, I'll go back to the level of maturity, the ability to do things the right way, the fact that we have good people in this program. I think all those things, you start putting those together and you're setting yourself up to have success.
Akron gets into the MAC softball tournament if you want to finish that sentence.
I think if we go play to our potential, we get in the MAC tournament. I think it boils down to that. I think you look a year ago, we missed it by a half a game or a game, and we gave away some opportunity, right? And I think we have to understand you only get to play 27 MAC games. It's not like playing a 162-game Major League Baseball schedule, right? You have a bad day, whatever, it's one game. Well, when it's only 27 games, every game means something. And I think that and again, I think that probably goes back to this team has a different outlook now than they probably had 12 months ago. And I think that we are in a way better position to understand that. And the one thing that I don't want our group to do is I don't want them to go press, right? Like, don't go press. Just go play the game, do the things that we work on every day. And if we can do those things, I think we're one of the 6 most talented teams in this league right now. So if 6 teams are making it, if we just play to our potential and win the games that we should win, steal a couple maybe on the road that we shouldn't win, and I think if we can do those things, we're probably in a good spot when the tournament rolls around.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck this year.
Yep. Thank you.